and good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Let's see, we're just about ready. Gonna play around with Jaeger, some tracing. All right, let's get going. So we've got Jaeger. We're just gonna run Jaeger. Boom, there it is. Jaeger's running. Now, one of the things that we should try to do here, just to figure it out a little bit, we're gonna set up a test project and send some messages to it. It'll be easier to reproduce issues if we have them in something smaller. Because right now we're having panics in the game server. So we're going to fix that. Let's see, I got to restart the browser. Right, okay. There it goes. Let's clean up some of these. Done with that one. What else do we got? Don't know what that one was. Down to 4. We got Jaeger. Oh, this was the game server where it's crashing here. Tried to drop a ref to this ID, but no such span exists. Yes, we'll be back. Okay. There's Jaeger. What is this one? This one is the client code, which we're going to close for now. All right, now just the two. We're going to do a Jaeger test. I'm going to copy some of this code from the game server into it. Server main. Basically going to take in open telemetry and all of these. Oh, and I think there's a new Rust analyzer, isn't there? Morning, Cat Peasant. Just a quick fetch for this one. I want to see what we got. Big money, big money. Yes. All right. All right, that's gonna go do its thing. So we're gonna have open telemetry stuff here, fine. Setting up a little test for Jaeger. I want a smaller environment to be able to test some stuff in. Yeah, we're going to take our tracing pipeline. Gonna get rid of the log pipeline. Little test thing. How's your weekend, Cat Peasant? Hope everything went well. We're also going to need Tokyo. Going good. How am I? I'm doing pretty well. Yeah. Excited to figure out this this little bit here with open telemetry. Oh, screwed it up by trying to make it generic. Generics in Rust are their own beast. They are. I think it took me a couple months before I got the generics where I wanted them right on the stuff like in main here. This is the game server, and if we look at, say, yeah, start server here. Where is it? Okay, here we get a database, right? And it's a DB new. And we call legacy run. This can actually be called in a generic way. And this here took me a month and a half. It took a long time. Okay. Let's see, what else we got here? Yeah, I think I had to do the generics twice or 3 times on that before I got it to the place where I really liked it. I accidentally linked 2 different bits of code too closely. Ooh, oh yeah. I see. Yes. Oh, tracing shouldn't be right here. There it goes. All right, kick that in. Oops. Let's make this async. Async function main. And we want a Tokyo. Async on that. Is this Tokyo main? Oh, I don't remember. It's probably over here. Yeah, Tokyo main Threaded scheduler. Ooh, fancy. I think that's a default anyways. Morning, Xenocron. How are ya? We're going to make a smaller Jaeger client this morning for tracing stuff. Let's see. In this case, I'm going to hard code env tracing host. Copy that. Come over here. Oh, it was right there in the comment. And they expect. Okay, that's fine. That's funny. Gotta wake up. How am I doing? Doing pretty well. I'm pretty well. Goats are beat up their fence. Not looking forward to having to fix that. Goats are kind of notorious for destroying things, though, so it's not really surprising. Okay, so we're going to create a new Jaeger pipeline in main. Does that take anything new? It takes a service name. Okay, let's call it trace test. Now inside of here, we're just going to spawn up some tasks. So let task equal to, I don't know, async block. Toss it with a subscriber on there, and we need a subscriber. Okay. All right, so there's our task. We have an async block with a subscriber. Tokyo task. Spawn. Okay, that should actually spawn it. Here we go. Oh, we need that in scope. New on that. Ooh, it's ambiguous. Ooh, that's right. Let's rename it. We'll rename that to Jaeger. It's just a test. We're not going to think too hard about that. Let's go ahead and close this one. Yeah, it's not available anymore. That's fine. There we go. Save that. Kicked Rust Analyze a little bit. Good. Oh. Good. Okay, so now we just got to fill this in, get a test going, and wire that up. With subscriber, this one's off of. What is that off of? I thought it was off of something in Jaeger. Oh, let's go to lib. Ah, there it is. Tracing features. So it's kind of tough to remember which one of these 6 crates this trade is in. Makes sense that it's in tracing futures.
First time met you, I hope you stay in town. Pretty hair, pretty eyes, wish you were by my side. You are the best any girl could ever wanna be. Always nice, always kind, in the back of your own mind.
Let's see, where is it? It's not there. Sync. Huh. Oh, it's not a. It's not a. It's a module, not a struct. All right. Now, what we're going to try to do in this case is get just a couple of simple tracings actually reporting to Jaeger. Now, we're going to do this in a little bit of a TDD fashion. We use tracing here, trace. Just going to toss a hello world in there. That's all we want to do. Trace a hello world. Now, I don't think this is going to work. Not the way we want it, because we do not have a default subscriber. Like, what do they call that? A subscriber? We do have a subscriber for this, which means that everything inside this async block has that subscriber. Now, the problem after that is that we need this in a span, because only traces and spans get sent to OpenTelemetry. So this should fail. Give it a build. All right, so we'll give that a build, run it in OpenTelemetry. Let's see, is Jaeger up and running? Appears to be the case. Okay. Yep. Good. That's there. This is almost done. Oh, and Rust Analyzer finished. Sweet. Okay. Restart NeoVim on the server. Get that going. I wonder what the big changes were in Rust Analyzer this week. All right, there we go. Cargo run. Oh, shoot. That's right. We spawn the task, we don't await it. We don't wait for it. Handle's going to be equal to that, and join the handle. All right. What is found on there then? I thought there was a join. All right. Tell me, what type are you? Oh, we await the join handle. And for those of you that are new to Rust, this implements future. So it's got poll and whatnot. And you can await things that implement future. Now in this case, it's going to be winding that we're returning something that we didn't say we would. Yes, now we're ignoring the result type. Let's unwrap that. Just so that it panics and we'll see it. Okay, let's give that a cargo run. It still should resolve quickly. Right? Didn't actually take very long. Okay, come back in here. We still only have Jaeger query, which to me, yeah, I don't think we have anything going on in here yet, which is what we expected. Okay, we didn't get our hello world. Now, let's try to fix that. Okay. So one way of doing this would be to say, let's span equal, and then something here. Okay. This would be tracing. Yeah, there's like a trace span or something in here. Warn span. Here's a trace span. And if we enter the span, what does enter return? I forget. I think we have to keep that alive long enough. So let's try that. Give that a cargo run. All right, that ran. Let's reload. Now we have trace test. Find traces. So yes, now we have our span. Yay. And here's our hello world. It's a trace, etc. Okay. So far, so good. Now we're going to set up another task. And we're actually going to use a channel here. Let's see. Let's not get too crazy yet. The problem with doing this way is that this enter, whenever we have an await in here, this enter is going to get collected. It's going to get dropped. And there's documentation on this. So if we go into tracing futures documentation, they describe that. Okay. So when you enter and you have one of these, this will result in the incorrect trace. And the problem is that enter here gets dropped when it hits the await boundary. And I think this is more of an implementation detail on how span enter works, because normally like this span would cross this await boundary if it was send. But I think due to how this ends up working, you get spurious results because there's a little bit of magic behind how these spans and how this tracing is implemented. It's really just to make it performant. So there's a little bit of unsafe magic back there. And they document this and explain what you have to do in order to get around that. All right. So instead of span enter, you say in scope. So you can run some asynchronous code inside of the span. But another way of doing that is to just call instrument on that, which we could do. Although I'm tempted to do this one first. Why wouldn't we want to use this one? So docs and inscope executes a given function in the context of the span. If the span is enabled, then the function enters the span, invokes F, then exits the span. All right, we're gonna go back one. Instead of using span enter in asynchronous code, prefer the following. Since inscope takes the synchronous closure and exits the span, when the closure returns, the span will always be exited before the next await point. For example, yada yada. Okay. For instrumenting asynchronous code, tracing futures crate provides instrument combinator, which is what we were trying to use in the other code. So we're going to continue to try to do this. Now it does mean that we have to create a span, an async block, which sure, that's simple, it's fine. And we're going to do that. We have our span. We're going to toss another async block in there. This, I think, is what would normally happen here is there would be some sort of function boundary or something else in here. So this example is a little contrived, but we're playing with the async side of it. I don't think the function boundary here is really going to matter. Also, we're going to set up some channels. And we're going to trace what the number is. Because in our case, we get a message, right? We get some sort of socket message. And I think we can do something like this, where you say percent message A little rusty on the syntax there. Now there's our span. Async move. We're going to move the message into this span. So instrument that with the span. And we have to await that, don't we? Yes. We already have Tokyo here, so let's go ahead and pull some of that in. Oops. Tokyo sync MPSC. All right, now inside of here, let's do a let tx rx. We have a transmission and receive side. Just an unbounded channel. It's going to be receiving numbers. Now we need the other side, or we need the send side, producing some values. I want to do that on a tick, so it simulates kind of the game server. Tick subscriber. And this thing's pretty much just going to go on forever. We'll wait for the other end. That should be fine. Okay. All right, let's grab another subscriber. Hey, Acton Dev, how's it going? Good morning to you. We're creating a very small example of how to use Jaeger. Let's see, so we're going to have some sort of counter in here. Let message. It's going to be 0. Needs to be mutable. Loop over that indefinitely. Now inside of here, oops, plus equals 1. Ta-da. Now we need to send it. I'm trying to remember on Tokyo channels if we have to wait on that. Type inside async block must be known to this context. I cannot infer the type of integer. We need futures ext for that. And we don't have that. Oh, they use receive. Thank you. Because we could treat it as a stream, or just, actually, receive means we don't have to pull in futures, which would be really nice. We're gonna have the same issue down here. I forgot to move both of these. So we don't want to borrow those values. We want to move them into the scope. Ah, yes, we're not in. And it's interesting that we don't have to have TX as mutable. Just the receiver. Okay. Thank you. At least, now we're not having to pull in StreamEXT on that. Or, yeah, StreamEXT to get next. Let me just use receive. That'll be good. Let's give it a run. All right, now it's running. Oh, but it should be hammering Jaeger with information because we didn't delay, did we? Let's go back. We only got one trace. That seems odd. See, I would have expected that, this to just start looping, tossing numbers into that other side, and we would get a span for each one of those numbers. Because we don't have a delay, we should be getting lots and lots of numbers. In fact, it doesn't seem like we're getting anything, as nothing has changed. All right, spot the user error. We know that's a number, it's copy. Yeah, this should just be spamming that. And it's not. Is it because we're not awaiting the task? I thought that could just be spawned here and just run. Async move on that. We have our loop. It's going to loop forever. We didn't see that panic. We're waiting for the other one. I didn't think that we had to await both of them. Okay, so we do have that. It is sending the messages. That's good, but our receive isn't. Ah, or maybe it doesn't match. Now, previously we had made sure that this was waiting. Yeah, we just have to keep the program from exiting and the tasks will run. So we're waiting on one of them. We'll just go old school, toss in some print lines there. I'm gonna look at the receiver on this. Unbounded receiver has receive. I believe we have that enabled. Otherwise, that would have some sort of compiler. Returns an option. Yes. I don't know. Oh, wait, hold on. Uh, we know that it's sending. Um, oh, maybe we need to make sure this isn't the multi-threaded one. Threaded schedule is the second loop just taking up all the time, which could be. And if that's the case, all we have to do is await in that second loop, which means that adding a delay will fix this. That's in Tokyo time. It's not coming to me. Okay. See, where's modules? Modules, time, functions. Yeah, we have delay 4. We give it a duration. Okay. Let's say every 1,000 milliseconds, so every second, we await that. There we go. We're in the single-threaded executor. And we just had to wait. All right, now, if we go back to Jaeger, find traces. Yay, look at that. Looks like it has chickenpox. So far, so good, huh? All right, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, so that works. It's consistent. That, and we're getting some really nice sort of results here. So this one took 0.14 seconds. And if you look at this, here, let's crank up the time on this. Say every 10 milliseconds. We get much more of a line now. A little bazillion dots right in there. Okay. What? Let's see, 200. All right. Now, if you look at these, most of these are anywhere between 0.05 milliseconds And wow, got some outliers that are taking 0.24 milliseconds. Whoa. Keyboard is not pleased with me at the moment. What did I hit? Hold on, let me reset my keyboard. Really, I think it's the hub. Yeah. All right, so that's there. But I wanted to look and see what the time difference was running it in one versus the other. I know this is going to be like really, really fast, but it's always a fun little demo because you go from these to something that's much, much smaller. And yeah, these traces are turning out okay. I think I have a mix on the other side in the server code. I think I did a number of instruments incorrect on the server. It's likely, let's see, what would it be okay to do? It'd be okay to use instrument on a sync function, but not an async function. I think that's the case. So if we go to something like server lib, I was commenting out a lot of code last night. We're running game master only. This thing is dying. It's gonna panic. Okay, so all of that is commented out. All we have is async move with a tick. Yeah, I think it's actually the USB hub is not doing a signal like a key up. So I end up getting like a alt key held down or something like that. I don't think it's the keyboard because if I plug it in directly, so that'd be a good test, but I can't because I have the headphones actually plugged in directly. Yeah. So what could be going wrong here? Let's see. Now this is going to panic, and all because of the tracing. So I think I have to go through and give this code a bit of a scrub. It's almost there. There we go. Yep, now we have a span that doesn't exist. Tried to drop a ref to an ID, but it doesn't exist. And this is, there's nothing in the stack trace that's actually back to our code. It's happening elsewhere. I mean, it could be in, let's see, probably not those. We do have some tasks. maybe in some closure somewhere. All right. But likely it's just how we're using it. Oops. Close that, foreground that. Okay. Oh, there it goes. The other one just started up. Let's find those traces again. And now look at this. Everything is really, really low on there. Much more consistent. And they're taking 0.01 milliseconds. So much less time. 590. All right. Okay, I don't think there's anything else that we're going to learn from this. I'm going to leave that up just as an example if we have to come back to it. But this, to me, is what it's supposed to be. You end up with a span that is instrumented, and you can use the tracing trace inside of there. And everything is good and happy. Oh, something else that I did want to check. So this span, do we get Hello World Trace Span anywhere? Yes, we do get that as the name. And then the trace test is coming through where? That's that. What about outer task? Do we see outer task anywhere? How do they, where should we be expecting these to show up? Okay, I don't see outer task anywhere in there. Here? Interesting. There doesn't seem to be a benefit for having those. So if there isn't a benefit on that, then why would we set it up that way instead of just using the default? All right, let's go to the server code. I'm going to look in main. So I commented out a little blob of code here. Grab that. I'm going to set up the default there. And comment out these little bits. This one didn't do any logging anyway, so it doesn't matter. Just a regular run this time. Ooh. That is not what I wanted. Okay. Got some messages coming across. Yep. A little bit less consistent, a little more jitter. Okay, I'm not really seeing a difference in that. The only reason I can think that we would want to split that up into having other subscribers is if we were feeding it to different Jaeger instances. Like there was some sort of load issue, right? There's different ways to deal with that. If there's a load issue, then you can always just sample it. Right? So only certain events happen or are recorded. Okay. That's a good learning. So today we learned that having different subscribers doesn't actually help. Not for this, the way that I'm using it. Little simple cases like this do not seem to crash it, which is good. And reading the documentation, always very useful. Sometimes it's useful in a way that you see, wow, this is a great crate, but really poorly documented. Sometimes I do favor crates that have better documentation but aren't as, let's say, performant. Okay, this is fine. Anything we want to try in here? I don't think so. Let's go back to the server code. We're just going to use a global subscriber now. That's fine. All right. Now I was trying to get this running from kind of the tail up. So the game server, it needs to tick first, right? So that other things can happen in the game. So I commented out auth and the character server. Basically, I have the game server is divided into logical chunks where imagine people actually coming through a system, right? They go through authentication. Can you enter this building? And then maybe like a dressing room, which is choose your character, and then they get to play the game. So their sockets will transition between these different channels. So we're here in Game Master. Yep, lots of code commented out, so there's going to be unused variables. And this little bit of code is actually tickling this the wrong way. We don't need a subscriber anymore. We know that now. Get rid of that. Which also means that we can just spawn that task like we had been. Okay. I don't think anything that we've done here is going to save it. Let's jump into this. What do we have? Tick interval, we're grabbing that from the environment. Let's add some spacing for readability. All right. Where's that being used? Let's just move that in. All right. Now the whole of that is commented out. Cloning Game Master a couple times, fine. You can see where the inspiration of the other the other example came up from. Oh, we're receiving a message. Here's an instant. Why didn't we call? We're going to comment this out as well. All right, so we have our while let. And really, we're hardly doing anything in here. Actually, I want to run that over there. So next time we'll run it on that side. Why does it not happen all the time? Oh, that's the listening one. Okay. There we go. We'll give it this big block. Let's see if that is still okay. Maybe it was down here in the link dead processing. It's possible. Async move instrument to wait. That's all fine. Okay, so we fixed that. It must be down here. I'm going to run that again just to make sure. Yep. Okay. All right, spot the culprit. We've got a span. Maybe it's further in. Let's save that. So now it should crash. If not, then it's something else that that I might have forgotten already. What else did we do? I mean, we commented that out. Leave that. We moved interval in. We really didn't do much. Okay. Now I know that things like this are going to be an issue. Okay, so we changed something in there that made it okay. But instrumenting on async I don't think works very well. I think that let's actually go to the docs on that one. So tracing futures. I don't think that this actually changes the macros. I don't think it can. Okay, which means that these macros aren't good for async functions. Maybe, maybe not. Let's see. I see. So we use instrument from tracing futures. Oops. Okay. Oh, interesting. This instrument should be from tracing futures, not from tracing. Will that compile? Yeah. We only have that one crate. No macros there. Let's go to tracing. instrument. If tracing features is specified as a dependency in Godot toml, async functions may also be instrumented. How do they do that? How do they check if a sibling crate is pulled in and then do something different? Yeah, just magic inside, huh? I wonder if tracing has like some sort of registry, and then if this other package is pulled in, it registers itself inside of it somehow. Yeah, magic inside. That's. Remember when I was talking about React and a little too much voodoo? Yeah, that's one of them. All right, well, if that does work on those, fine. We'll go ahead and leave some of that then. Macros can get very voodoo-y, yes. And they're already doing unsafe magic. I'll bet they're just doing some application startup time unsafe magic. Because I know they're using slabs and a whole bunch of other stuff to make this really performant. All right, let's go ahead and close that. Let's go back to main. What got removed? Put those back. And it's working. Okay, fine. Also means I commented out a bunch of stuff that I have to put back. All right, so the spawn tick, that works now. You know, we did make a change here where that subscriber wasn't being included. That, and we also changed where the spawn was. I wonder if that's going to make a difference. I think we're spawning this one as well. Yeah, we're going to clean this up the same way because we don't need that subscriber anymore. Okay. Trying to do little bits of this at a time just to make sure. I was tired last night and a little fuzzy on like where exactly it was crashing, but we saw it crash this morning, and this was already commented out. All right, we're just gonna go through, make sure that this is all working correctly. We're using another async move. Why do we use an async move here? I don't see any purpose to that. Ah, incoming message. That's right. What I would like to do is for every incoming message, basically have a span. But that one's not even being awaited. Oh, you're struggling with traits. What do you got? Do share. Async move, instrument await. Yeah, I didn't give it a span. It's actually wanted to toss a span in there, but so this is a game master packet. GM message. Oh, I see what I'm. The filter here. Oh, I can't do that, can I? Okay, yeah, I'm actually using this in the wrong spot. Try from a borrowed stir is pretty straightforward, but as soon as you try from into that, kind of awkward to work with traits and generics. Yeah, constraining it in the where clause sometimes more clear. Okay, that filter is actually used down below. I'm doing this in the wrong spot. Function's too long. Expected a comma. Why? Ah, there we go. And feel free to toss it into like a playground link. It'll give a little bit of a bigger picture. All right, let's see. In here, for every one of the incoming messages, I would like to have a span for it. Toss an async move on there. Dot instrument. You're dealing with your first type definition with 3 lifetime parameters? Why? I'm trying to remember any code that I've seen that really has 3 that I had to specify. I mean, there's lifetimes on all that stuff, but usually the compiler just hides it for us. That's fine. I think I had a bug here. Couple mutable references that you passed around. I see. Ooh, a UI framework. That's cool. What's the name of your UI framework? Ecton UI. Trying to create an easy mechanism to allow a render function to explicitly render the children at a specific moment in time. Or not automatically render if you didn't during your render function. Oh, I see. Oh, that could be tricky. So this is a sender. I think this is a Tokyo sender. Go back to Tokyo. MPSC sender. Yeah, I think I want to do a try send and not a send in that case. In this case, there was an incoming message error. It's going to drop it and we'll try send there. If you look through Rusty, everything basically has 2 lifetimes. So you're taking a type that already has 1 lifetime and adding 1 more because of the abstraction, and 1 final one for the syntax and to provide context children to cancel or context children to render. Interesting, okay. The children type that gets returned is the one that has the lifetimes. Isn't let's see, if you specify the same lifetime on multiple things, doesn't it give you basically a union of the lifetimes of the sources? Can't you combine the lifetimes in some way? Try from IO. Oh, I see. IO error. Okay. Yeah, is this falling into the oh, what do they call that? Where basically every type is able to be converted into every other type. The generic one, the very top level. More restrictive, but you're trying to get it right. Ah, I see. Okay. Because isn't there already a blanket implementation of this? Right, so that's what I think this is hitting. You're hitting the blanket implementation. Yeah, in core. Interesting. Yeah, there's some blanket implementations, and I'm also blanking on what that is actually called. Um, it's you'll find it in otherwise. Um, like why can't you, impl something for all types? You know, for field, right? Um, it's because it already exists, and it's because of this, where you can already convert it into. So basically, you create the from for it instead. But yeah, this constraint isn't actually helping you. Mm. Sorry, I was on mute. And how would you specify that here? Like, let's say that even did work, because this here would have to be t, right? Oh, no, it's for a t that can go into a lifetime. So if that didn't conflict, it'd still be weird because t didn't have a lifetime here, but then you are somehow giving it a lifetime from something. But you don't have any parameters to basically give you the lifetime of. So you'd actually need something. For lifetime of t, then you want to go this into that lifetime. So t would have to be borrowed in this case. Interesting. Yeah, it does feel like this is just too wide open. Now, did you say that you had already tried this for the other? I thought there was another trait that basically did this. Two string, right? So you want this for anything that actually implements two string, and anything that's display, then you could take also. Oops. And I don't think this will work either. I do miss my Vim commands. Oh, did I get something wrong there? 1, 2. 75209. How's it going? Yeah, we still hit the conflicting. All right. Back to the mines. All right, that one looks good. Filter map. Future's not satisfied. What? So I did have an async block in there before, but I didn't think that filter map would take that. Now, this is the part where you come back to like older code. Oh, is that inside of a different spawn? What is that? We have this task spawn inside of that. What? Okay, so they are in the same block. Fine. My eyes were getting the better of me. I thought that filter was actually in a spawn separate from this while loop. What's a GM stream here? See, I didn't think that this actually had to be asynchronous. Option, incoming message. That seems silly. Okay. Because this filter, all it's supposed to do is basically return some or none. And that's it. And it looks like it's doing that. Let's look at the bigger error. And good morning, Paolo Barbolini. Happy Monday. Okay. No method next found for that. Do I even still have to pin it? All right, so this here, we have a GM stream, and this is a receiver. This is an MPSC receiver in Tokyo. And we're using filter map, which is off of the futures crate. Let's go to the documentation there. Wow, futures 3.5 already. Streamy XT. This has filter map. And in this case, F is supposed to return a future. Okay, so we did need the async block in here. So we async move that. Oh shoot, that should be inside. My mistake. Alright. Oh yeah, way too much now. Okay, there's a filter. Let filter equal that. Semicolon there. Oh my goodness. I just butchered all of my curly braces. Alright, there's a Tokyo one. Yeah, that spawn should end here. It's not. Alright. Now the filter is ending way too far. Alright, filter is correct now. What about the task spawn? It's off by 1. There we go. formatter kicked in. Good. Here we have this, and now it's going to complain that it's not pinned anymore. Okay. Looking around at the tracing feature stuff because you were curious. It looks like there's no actual feature detection, as it were. Okay. Instrument attribute just directly inserts references to tracing features in the macro generated code if used on an async function. Ah, okay. Okay, nice. Thank you for looking into that. That's a neat way of doing that. So basically, they're leaving it up to the user to pull in that crate. That makes sense. So the documentation was a little funky then, because it's saying, well, somewhere. Um, it gave the impression that it was doing something extra. That's a neat way of doing it. It really is. Just generate the code, and if it fails, it fails. There we go. Toss that back in there. Good to go. Now this one. Okay. Async move here. We're going to async move, and we're going to instrument. Yes. Now the problem with this async move is it's actually moving stuff into it. I don't think we just want async because we'll end up with funky borrows. Really? Okay. This game master here is going to get borrowed. Connection state store is going to be borrowed. You're really okay with this, compiler? Why are you okay with this? I mean, we're looping. Hmm. Wanted to look at the docs on the tracing span real quick. Tracing, trace span, and level. I wanted to see if we could toss a little bit extra information into it, but it doesn't look like fields is there. All right, and there they have fields. So it looks like it comes at the end there. Oh, I was reading the documentation and forgot that I wasn't in the browser. So in this case, fields, I would like stream ID. All right. Because that'll give us the ability to track these different streams as they go from authentication to character selection into the game master's run loop. All right, let's give it a build and a dev run. Maybe we can crash it somewhere else. All right, game master's running. Come back over here. We probably should have. Oh, this is nice. You can limit these by service. Find traces. So the tick. Oh, lovely. Just happening a lot. Operation. Sorry. We have Game Master Link Dead and tick. So how do we get things to show up in here for other processes? Let's say they only show up. These operations only exist for things that it's already seen. And we haven't sent a packet into Game Master yet, have we? No, to be able to do that, we've got to come back a little bit. Now let's get auth wired up. All right, run auth is our task. We're going to strip that down. Not using the subscriber there anymore. We're using a generic one. Let's add a semicolon there. We'll be using that in just a moment. Took a task spawn on that. Now here we have a trace. That's not going to show up anywhere. I don't think we want one yet. And that one's really useful for something else. All right, here's our filter, just like before. Our async move, a bunch of different bits down there. Oh, I forgot. I want to send something back. Yeah, this try send here should just be a send. And we await it. Because I had removed the async block before and then had to change that into a try send, remove the await, yada yada. Okay. Where's our auth stuff? Okay, so we're going through here. Message, okay, there's our filter. There's our loop, good. Async move here. We instrument and await it. I want the stream ID as part of this span. Is that what we called the other one? Stream ID, yes. Okay. Here we receive data. I think this is just me playing around. Usually when I set things to like warn or error, and they're really not errors, it's just to get my attention. Okay, and then we toss it into process. Auth.process returns a future? Oh, we await it. Yes, but we also have instrument there. We know that works now. All right, it looks like the only thing that we were really gaining here was tossing a stream ID on that, but now it's on the outer span. So we don't need that. We'll just await. If there is an error, because we're inside of an if flat error, should message that as well. Okay, good. Let's try logging in. Just want to click into one of these and see what's going on. It's very shallow. Our tick doesn't do much. I think it's supposed to do more actually. Because what happened? Ah, yes. Get status. Which file was that in? It's in game state lib? Probably. I think I removed some tracing in here. Here, yes. Because I thought that was a culprit. New paths. Okay. That's been reverted with no other funky changes. Good. Build one more time. I want to see the traces inside of the tick to make sure that's not an issue. Tossing that back. A couple things going on at the same time. We'll be logging in just a moment if this works. There we go. Let's reload this. Find some traces. Ah, yes. Very nice. Very, very nice. Look at that. Now we have our tick. We see the tick, new paths, and trigger zones. There's basically 3 different sections inside of a tick. We actually calculate the tick. We calculate the paths that people are taking through the world, and we process trigger zones. I'm surprised at the gappiness. Like, why is that separated so much? Do I use Jaeger to trace a game tick? Right now it's in there, yeah. That's it. That's a game tick. And it's happening all the time. Every 16,000 milliseconds. It's a little bit for fun on that and testing out Jaeger. Um, and right now I think I'm also just running Jaeger to memory. So my box is not only doing the video encoding here and all that stuff, but it's also filling up. So we will occasionally restart Jaeger. Okay. Let's try logging in. Triggers and actions, all that. So far, so good. I don't know if I got... Yeah, Godot's not even running today. Okay. What path are we going to give it? We will give it source. Legacy. Legacy. Okay. Let me check in OBS. I want to make sure that this is all wired up. I didn't do that before the stream. Okay, it looks like it's there. Okay. Interesting that get modified time doesn't exist on the GDN lib. Strange. Okay, we're gonna log in. All right, now we click the button. That's all. It should have sent a packet, and that's all we want. We just want a packet. Because we're converting our GD script into Rust code. Let's see, did we get anything new? Handle incoming connection, new path explorer. What is this from? Handle incoming connection. Okay, oh, this is from Stream Multiplexer. Yeah, Stream Multiplexer should be in its own little service thing. Add? All right, where's auth? We need some sort of auth in there. we should be able to go back to all. Find traces on that. I just want to see what it can do. Oh, look at that. Fancy. Oh, it actually did it. I didn't think it would. All right, let's say connection is equal to 1. No tracers. Oh, goodness. Oh, did we not set that up? No, it was stream ID. Stream ID is equal to 1. Add and next. Okay, let's go through and clean up some of those streams. Oh, and while we're at it, let's bounce Jaeger. The server's not wanting to shut down. All right, so the tick is in there. It's going through. That's fine. We're gonna go into auth and clean up auth a little bit. So here we have process. I think that's a terrible name. But it should just show up as we are processing the auth information. Back to game master. Sorry, server. I meant server. Yeah, stream ID should have been there. Auth incoming message should have been there. I don't remember if I even have debug on these. Oh, it should be borrowed. Incoming message. We have async move, instrument, and await inside of a while loop. And I ended up tossing in a lot of extra clones on there just because of the async move. I think if I didn't have the move, it would complain about something borrowing in there. I forget what. Basically, it was these, if I comment those out. Yeah, sender metrics. Okay. What else? Spiner. Fancy. All right. Let's do a connection and see what we get. Okay, I restarted the game client. Nothing. We got nothing. An error. Connection already set. Yeah, I clicked the button multiple times. That's fine. Must be in the client then. Oh, look, and now because it's a giant workspace, we can just edit it in the same place as the server. Legacy Rust. This is going to be in login. and we're seeing login pressed. We're also seeing tasks spawned. So we try to connect to this, and we await it. On the connection result, if there's an error, we return and bail, but we're not seeing that. And down here, we have our login, and we try to do a net send. Let's add some debugging here. And we're not seeing any of these errors. So we're trying to do a write all to that connection. And that returns an IO error. Okay, let's... but we're ignoring the return on that. Okay. Little macro there, or a little utility function, rather. Godot expect is there. Oh, it's a future. We have to await that. No wonder it didn't work. That's why we should always pay attention to our unused variables. Oh, a future cannot be sent safely between threads. Okay. Now, this is an interesting message. Here where it's saying, hey, this thing cannot go between these two threads. And all we did, yeah, and this is fine. Because what's happening here is that owner's lifetime isn't able to go between these threads. Okay, so we hit the async here. Where was it? Here. All right. So basically, all we have to do is bundle some of this up into a little scope so that our reference goes away in the correct amount of time. So more like that. Oh, that's unsafe. Something more like that. And then this will just return login. Or we can move login out. Login can exist out of there. We'll assign that to a little variable. A little funky, but it works. Expected semicolon. Oh, because I'm assigning it to local. There we go. Hey, Elsie. What are we working on at the moment? Cold Stone Man. Let's see. So this morning we've been working on getting Jaeger all set up. It's currently working a little bit better. Our little graph, we just restarted it, so all the dots are gone. That, and we have a tag there that we're filtering on. Oh, and we don't want 1500 traces. Sorry, it's a long way of answering your question. We're trying to get the login flow showing up inside of Jaeger. So right now, this is the tick. And if you click into one of these ticks, you can actually see the different segments of the tick. So it's representing the tick really well here. You can see timing information and whatnot. And if you click inside, you'll see more information that you can dump inside of the spans, which is really cool for being able to debug a game server. You should be able to see, hey, our tick times have gone through the roof, etc. Okay, so going back from there, we're trying to get the auth in there. And I don't want 1,500 of these. Let's do 15. There, it behaves much better. And at the moment, we're trying to get the client login working, and it turns out that we had missed an await here. All right, now what was it exactly that didn't want to cross bounds? I think it was owner here. So we have to basically make sure that owner stays in a little scope between awaits. We're going to use owner. How much do we actually use owner for? We get the username and password, really, and that's it. So we could return a tuple with username and password. We could do that. So we make this a little bit smaller. I don't like having big scope blocks, so I try to constrain it. Here we're using owner. We're just going to get username and password out of it, and then return username and password. So a little tuple from that. Then over here we can use username and password, because those can go between threads. Oh, and this. All right, so we've got the username and password for the login. Oops. We're trying to convert it into bytes there. Oh, but it doesn't know that. Okay. I have to give it a type so it can try into that. Now we send that to the server. We await it and panic if something fails. Hopefully the connection won't drop between those 2 points in time. Ideally, what we would do in this case is actually get the owner again, right? Set up a little block, get the owner, and set the error message again. So do something else down here, and we can just toss it in there because this is after the async, or the await. So that thread scope will be here until the end, which should be fine. I'm going to grab a little bit more code because we want error again. I know I'm bouncing around just a little too much at the moment, or a lot too much. Okay. Where was that defined? That's actually defined in strings CSV and login error. Login failed. We'll just use that one. All right. You're not a game dev, just here to learn as much as you can. Oh, sure. And if you see things that you have questions about along the way, please ask, because you're not going to be the only one that has the questions. Just server and client talking to each other. Yes, very much so. And good morning. Let's see if I can pronounce this. Zarnal. Good morning, Zarnal. Happy Monday. Took me a moment to parse your name there. All right, and which one doesn't it want to go between threads safely? Interesting. So something else in here is having an issue. Actually, if we do a cargo build, that builds legacy Rust, doesn't it? Because here in the compiler output, it should point us right to the thing that's having the issue. Net map. Interesting. Feature created by async block is not send. Okay. Within unique, sync is not implemented for const pointer. Okay. Await occurs here. Within net may be used later. Consider moving this into a let binding to create a shorter lived borrow. I see. And that's in source net 37. Is that for send? On line 37, okay. Yeah, that isn't send. So we await here because... Oh. Yeah, this instance unique cannot actually cross threads, and then we have an await here. All right, so in this case, we need to... At this point, we would have a TCP stream back. Let's save that. Okay, we're going to reduce the scope here. There's our TCP stream, and now TCP stream dot, write that. Used to be a Zarnal, but you lost the account because it was a throwaway email. Oh, bummer. Don't they recycle names after some time? What's their recycle name policy? Cannot borrow TCP stream as mutable. Sure. /AAW on that to get that menu. Just to make it mutable. Okay. Build the client again. Oh, so close. Okay, owner path. Moved there, used again. That's going to be on login. Yes. Wait, owner path. What is owner path? That's a string, so we can new ref the string. That's a ref counted type. That's fine. And new ref is specific to GD native Godot, or GD native Rust. That's not like a normal Rustism. Normally you would just clone it for something that's ref counted like that. Ooh, text error. Oh, and we have to set the error back into the UI. I did not do that. There, error set text. I think this is still incorrect in a way. There we go. If connect fails, set the error message and return. In fact, right now we are just always setting that. This is just error. Oh, it's a result. Okay. And that's unused. Yeah, I didn't realize earlier that we had not been building out that that await or that send correctly. All right, let's go back to Godot. That should have automatically reloaded. Clear those. Give it a run. All right, and what were we going to look for? There was something over here. It's an ePrint line we were looking for. Login, task spawned. No errors. It still doesn't feel like we actually sent anything. Hold on. I wonder if that build script didn't work quite right. All right, so that just got updated. What does that have in it? Let's bat that. Looks okay. All right, I'm expecting more from this. Not just a task spawned. Something's not right. Login sent. All right. Click on login. Okay, let's get in there. Login sent. Hold on, let me check my net. Right now. All right, something was going on my network. Who knows? It looks like it was just me. Yes, I'm starting to drop packets like crazy. Let me check this. All right, I'm just gonna turn a bunch of devices off here. All right. All right, only group I didn't turn off was the wife's devices. And I'm sorry, guys, but, well, actually, I'm not sorry, but I do love her more than you. Um, all right. Yeah, I'm dropping crazy packets. Looks like it's just my devices. Yeah, sorry about this. It's not due to frame encoding time. It looks like it's just due to network. It might be upstream of me because I'm not seeing anything interesting. All right. This seems upstream. gets passed. All right, let's just power through this. Okay. So we did get the login sent. We did not get any messages here on the server side, though. I mean, that should have said, hey, we got a message or something, but it didn't. Run that one more time. Login, login. All right. Well, hopefully it keeps up. All right, that's not actually helping. Just hitting that button a bunch. Yeah, connection already set. Oh, did I crash the... Okay, that's actually what I cared about, and then I just hit that a bunch and I panicked the plugin. That's fine. I'm expecting that. Sorry, Mr. Edmix. Yes, that and I'm committed. So, I don't. You know, some people might love internet strangers more than people in their lives. You never know. All right, I'm guessing the auth here. Let's just go like straight up development debugging here. We should have received an auth stream message at this point. Because this is our stream 0. This is where everything comes in. Run auth. Yeah, that should have been there. I've got a little bit of code we could snag from down here to inspect. We can toss that into the auth stream. There's character. Oh my goodness. Okay, where is it? Run auth after the filter right here. Okay, let's debug that. I mean, maybe it's just a malformed packet and it's not even getting in. Absolutely oh. Okay, there might be something in that. We'll have to check in just a moment. Okay, this should let us inspect the packets as they come in. We're basically building up a stream of a stream. So in this case, our stream becomes an inspect stream, and then we filter map after that. So we should be able to inspect things before they get into the filter. Oh, your wife was an internet stranger for a while to me. You know, I actually really got to know my wife on a BBS, like forever ago. A bulletin board service for those of you that are new to this world. Um, Interesting. This does not want to shut down cleanly sometimes. Eventually it does. Eventually it does. You never used a BBS. Oh, you used Gopher for a very brief moment. When you were in grade school and you barely remember it. Okay. There we go. Okay, I just want to see. Packet, stream connected. Okay, so that's all we got? We just got stream connected. That's it. Oh, you met at Match.com. 6 months before you flew it out for the first time. Oh, and dude, 16 years. Well, congratulations. Oh, that's awesome. Wow. Talk to me. 6 months. That's a cool story. That's a cool story. I like this story. All right. So our login code is not actually flushing this packet of the wire or something. Those were the days when it was still strange to meet somebody online. Yes, yes. You're very welcome. So why is our right all not working? It should have flushed. What are our bytes? Let's see, how do we display this in hex? Is it pound? Is it percent? I don't remember. The client says side code or server. It's actually both. In this file here, this is the client side code. Oops. And if we were to go back to, let's say, this file, this is the server code. They're both in Rust. I'm building basically a DLL for Godot, the Godot game engine to load, and that's in Rust. And yeah, it's a server client setup where we have a multiplayer game server. It's a little bit of both. And good morning, Joda Palamba, Joda Lambda, Lambda. Oh my goodness, Joda Palambda. I'll get it. Let me know if you say that a certain way. I will try to correct. Oh, bytes cannot format. Found question mark. That's it. Okay. Back to the client code. The client's net code. There we go. Legacy Rust cargo watch build. If I just kick this off here, then it actually makes it easier for me to iterate because it'll build this, set up the DLL and all the other bits, and I don't have to bounce back and forth as much. Okay. Ooh, this is our little test code. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that one. Where'd it go? Ah, there it is. Perfect. Okay. Back there. No errors, just a ton of warnings. Unused imports, etc., etc. Yeah. Ah, I thought I saw something. Bytes remaining on the stream. Oh. It didn't. It. That's what I'm doing wrong. My run length encoding is incorrect. No, not run length encoding. Basically, I'm sending some bytes, but I don't have the header. I'm supposed to be sending the size of the bytes in a header of size 2 bytes, and that's supposed to be the size of the body of the payload. Okay, so that's why it's not actually. That's why that's not working. Yes. This is so much better. Okay. Um, I wonder if we could actually use what we're using on the server for this, or if we have to write this out ourselves. But basically, there's some code that the server's using, and that's in Tokyo Utils. And Tokyo Utils actually has code that does exactly this. That handles the run length encoding. I keep saying run length encoding. I just mean the length header for packets. So you can set up a codec and just run with it. I think the problem here is that it's going to be using. We could try to use this. It's in the client we're using small SMOL as our runtime, async runtime, and on the server I'm using Tokyo. But it would be nice to be able to use this. What else is it? Compatibility between Tokyo IO and Futures IO. Okay, so I think we're going to need codec and compat on this. We're not doing UDP, and that's fine. Let's see if we can add that without Tokyo then. Let's go into Legacy Rust, cargo add. Is it just Tokyo? Ah, no S. Okay. Let's see if we got that right in here. Default features false. Perfect. Ah, and cargo what features? What are you tell? Tell us your secrets. So we want codec and compat. All right. Let's give that a build again. Okay, while that's compiling, I'm gonna take a drink. Ooh. I was using a apple cider vinegar water. Okay, that should be back in a moment. What are we gonna need to do in here? I think we're just gonna need to set up one of these like we do normally. Let's create a new length unlimited codec. We use builder, set it up like the server. Okay. And then we will create a new framed, which should give us a framed. And this framed is going to be basically async read and write. Unified stream and sync. Okay. And then we can actually just dump packets to this, or dump types to this. All right, that should be fine. And hopefully compat works the way we want it. Let me check one other thing. Oh, wow. What? Okay, back to work. That's not working. This is fun. Trying to keep an eye on my packets there too. Okay, now that we have that set up, let's go back to net. Because after we create this, we're going to need to create a framed read and write. We'll have to do that in the connect. Where's connect? Ah, here's connect. We get an address. We're able to connect to it. Here we do the actual connection. And this connection here is an async TCP stream. I believe that's, this is from small. Let's see, do we have a little editor? No, little docs for small. So I think async on that implements async read and async write. Let's just verify, because we're going to have to make the types match up. Structs, async. What does it implement? Async read and write, but which one? From futures. Okay. All right, so now let's get a framed setup. A framed. Tell here util. Is it just frame? That's a length. Length and unlimited codec. Builder. Let me start to toss some stuff onto here. All the way to the top, please. To the top. Ah, it's in codec. Okay. Is that not exposed at the top of this? Nope. Okay. So first into the codec. Length delimited. Okay, and that re-exports from there. Okay, so length delimited codec from that. I think builder does not take a self. Okay. Hey, there we go. All right, and here we will say framed eventually. Ooh, new framed. What is that? New framed, new codec. I think framed actually takes the T. Yes, and that's what we want to pass into it. And that's going to be our connection. Okay, now this isn't correct yet. We still have to set how big the header is, Actually, that's it. um, and now over here, we want length field length. And the neat thing about this is that you can try to um, match different kinds of packets with this. So if your length of the body of a packet of the you know, so you typically have a header and then you have some sort of payload right at the body, and the length could be anywhere in the header. So you could set the field offset for the size. You can set its length. So maybe it's only 1 byte. Maybe it's 8 bytes. Um, And this can do pretty much all of that. Then you can also do length adjustment, saying like, oh, well, it's usually this, but you need to, add or subtract so many to this because it's, taking into account the size of the header, maybe. So you can do a lot with this. This covers many, many, many cases. All right, so we are going to just say length field length because everything else should just be fine. I think our length field length is actually 2. And that should give us a framed. Now, what about the compatibility stuff? What is in compat? Looks like it's really just traits here. And what's in here? I see. Do we need to wrap that with this? Into inner, get ref, get mutable. I see. That's probably returned by one of these. Features async read compat. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and what's that Tokyo 02? Extension trait that allows converting type information from type implementation from async read to async read. I see, and this one's the other way. Got it. Got it. Let's just pull that in. All right. Now what's it saying here? No method named framed found on mutable reference, mutable Tokyo length builder. Okay. Now I thought that we had already gone through that. Codec. Length element codec. Builder. This gives us a builder. Oh, new framed. My mistake. I think they changed that in 03. I think it just used to be called framed in 02. All right. So Tokyo AO async read is not implemented for the small async read because this one's the futures-based one and this one is not. So in that case, we have to use compatibility trait. Oh shoot, do they not have like a read and write? Do I have to pass these in separately? Can I just say it's from that? I don't think I can I? guessing the only way to produce that is from one of these. All right, and they don't really have like a from both of them. Okay. That means on the builder, back to the builder. Looks like I'm gonna have to split this up into like a read and a write. So we could do new read and then a new write. Technically, we're just writing so far, so we get away with that for today. Yeah. I thought there was like a join that you could do. Isn't there a Tokyo join? No, it's in Tokyo. And we're not pulling in Tokyo. That's in Tokyo Net, I believe. Where you can join, oh, that's only for rejoining things that have been split previously. That's right. Okay, so if we're working on async networking stuff, you probably want to use Tokyo or async standard directly. Yeah, I'm trying to use small, actually. And I know that small is actually, I say actually too much. Actually. Okay. I know that small has become the runtime in async standard, but I would like to just experiment with small as a library itself. I believe we can get away with this by just having two codecs, one for the read half, one for the write half. And we can use async dupe for splitting it, which we're already using. It's a good idea, though. I want to keep Tokyo out from the client, and I'd like to keep async standard out from the client. Just as a, I don't know, maybe it's more of a personal challenge. Oh, is it compat write on that? Okay, so that'll take it into compat. What was that autocomplete we got? Compat write, where was this? Huh. Okay. Yep, connections used after move, which is fine because now we're going to save. Not the connection, we're going to save the write. Um, all right, we're going to be using that. And we're going to rename that. So instead of connection, we'll call that write. It's no longer a TCP stream, is it? It's a framed write, compat, async TCP stream. Frame rate comes out of Tokyo Util. There's no frame rate there. Where is it? Codec frame rate. I see. So it's basically wants the enter T, which is the compat async TCP stream, but then get the matching pair on that. No, okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 here. Let's see. That's going to want to be a length delimited codec, which you can pull out of here as well. Okay, and no write all found on that, which is fine. Expect that. Okay. So framed write, how do you actually use one of these? It's a stream and a sync. And with a sync, what can you do? So off of futures ext, there's a, is there a sync ext? Futures. Yes, there is a sync ext. Okay. And we do send and send all now with that. Okay. We just call send on it, and the codec takes care of the rest. Expected bytes found U8. Oh, bummer. Okay. Bytes, bytes. And then in login, yeah, now our types is, that's wrong. It'll just take ownership of it, which is fine. We don't actually need it after that. Cannot borrow data in a dereference of dupe. Oh, interesting. Let's rename this. Oh, I need to map mutable that? No, we should just have a clone on that. So we get that cloned out of there. Sure, it doesn't need to be mutable. We're going to take it as a reference, clone it, and this is using this it's not standard arc. This is actually arc that's inside of async dupe, which just wraps that one and provides some read and write around it, which is nice. Cannot borrow data. Which data is it trying to borrow? Let's look. Oh, because the right actually needs to be. Oh, I see. But we have the arc, and the arc to have that exclusively. Ooh, that's tricky. Okay, so what's going on is that writer, we have to be able to mutate it. But we're stuffing it into an arc. Now, does that crate also have mutex? Yeah, and mutex. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so it'll just be an arc mutex, then we'll get a lock on it and send it. All right. There we have arc mutex. Right lock send. Yes. So this has to be a clone of that, and that's not correct yet. That defaults to none. Then when we set it up and connect, that needs to be wrapped in a mutex here. Okay, so we have arc mutex being set and applied there. Good. What about here? Right does not live long enough. Ah, let's look at the bigger error on that one. Temporary value does not live long enough. Okay. Oh, it's borrowed on the lock. Okay, so we have write and then the lock. That creates a temporary, and then we can't call send away. Okay. Guard is going to be equal to that. Okay, so this is the client send code. Now we will have the correct length on that. We're using Tokyo util without Tokyo inside of small. Unused result. Let's make sure we use that. Lock failed when checking connection. Sure. Same sort of thing here. Okay, that whole file is not used. Login, unused import, invoke. Interesting. We have a little bit of dead code here. Yes, disconnect is fine. We'll get to disconnect eventually. Until then, let's comment it out. Less noise. That and debounce we should just delete. Can I do that? Can I close last window? Fine. Compiling. And it's compiling, isn't it? Okay, let's go to Godot. But first, let's pull up the, what's that one? Oh, look at that. We got a message. A fantastic message. Incoming message. And then we went LinkedIn. Fine. Okay. It's alive! Oh, beautiful. Okay. Oh, and let's check to see if that came through here. Is that running? Operation. We got auth incoming message now. Handle incoming message. So we just filter on that. Oh, and it had an error and everything. Look at that. Could not parse packet. Okay. That's a good stopping point for me. That is fantastic. That's what we like to see. So-and-so says, hey, I can't log in. We can go through and check and see what's going on using Jaeger, using tracing. And this is our first real message being sent between the client and the server since switching to using Godot Rust instead of just GD script. That is awesome. It's alive. And we get to reuse. We get to reuse those types that the server and the client are using. Before, I don't know if I've even shown you guys. Where's my CBOR codec? This is all in GD script. I wrote a CBOR decoder and encoder in GD script to do this. So this can be retired. Oh, that's going to be so much nicer. Okay. That is fantastic. It is coffee time for me. So I don't know who we're going to raid today. Got anybody coming online? Is Raimu coming online yet? We're going to start the countdown on Adam. Yeah, well, the nice thing about that, the nice thing about the CBOR stuff is if you look at the spec, they have a whole bunch of test cases, right? Given this input, you should get this. Given this, you can get that. So using GD script with a GUT tester that you can install, it's a little framework you can install in Godot for doing unit tests. It went pretty quick. But that was after implementing the message pack one and then deciding what we hated message pack because of how it did encodings of UU IDs. It actually encoded them as strings instead of bytes. So, all right, y'all. Everybody take care. Gotta get going. Bye-bye.